Please tonight is to ask questions. I will ask them difficult questions. I'm only joking actually. So how do we go now? So from Ibim, can you introduce yourself and what is Abi UK?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would say a very big thank you for everybody that's created time to be here, and also to all the previous speakers as well. I myself have learned quite a lot. My name is Ibim Diri. I'm a geoscientist by background, so when you're talking about source rock and reservoir, I've done those things in the past and decided to transition. So currently, I work for a company called Harbor Energy. That's my 9 to 5. And I also sit on the board of AFD, the Association for Black and Ethnic Minority Engineers. It's a community of people that have come together to see how we can bridge the gap with respect to helping our people to attain leadership positions in these different companies. Because when you look at the stats as well, how many black and minority ethnic people do you see at board levels, at senior management levels? We've decided to come up with a lot of programs that can really tackle all of these challenges and to ensure we provide equal opportunity for everybody. Currently, we work with over 90 companies, including Shell, BP, Baker Hughes, my company, Harbor Energy, all of these companies. And there are tons of programs we kind of roll out on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis to ensure that we are providing the support that students need to be able to transition from academia into the world of work. We did one event last week Saturday with Baker Hughes, and already there are already success stories from that event. One of the attendees reached out to me to see I'm trying to apply for a role with Baker, and quickly I recommended her to Bro Felix seated there, and he did an internal referral. In less than 4 hours, she got called for an interview. So these are the sort of opportunities we can tap into, and there's still many more to come. There's a lot of them coming up on the 17th of November. We've got a transition careers event with Harbor Energy, my company, and the last one in Aberdeen is going to be with BP on the 28th of November. So there'll be a lot of opportunities. A lot of people have talked about mentorship, networking. So at AFB, we can provide all of these opportunities untapped for you to be able to maximize your potential. So I'm available at the end of the session to take your questions, to help you navigate your career journey here in Aberdeen. Thank you very much.
I will skip you because you give me. I just wanted to. So, Madam, Madam, Cyber woman, can we know you, man, and what you do at Black and Scott?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my boss and my other boss as well. My name is Timi Adegunwa. I'm originally from Nigeria and I've been in the UK for over 20 years. My day job, I'm
Yes?
Only. Yes, I left in the early 2000s. So my day job, I work as a cybersecurity analyst. I work with, I just actually started a new role on Monday, so a bit one of the investment banks. And when I'm not doing that, I am working with Black and Scott. And you see what that's why I said my boss, what he has said about the engineers. When I came into Aberdeen over 10 years ago, my husband got upset about living in London and he said he's had enough, that we should go elsewhere. Long story short, we ended up in Aberdeen. To be fair, the first time I came into Aberdeen, I was like, what? Because that's not what I'm used to. So I love it now and I don't even want to go back to London. So when I came into Aberdeen and I couldn't find anyone that looked like me, and my first job was at BP in one of the annexes office. And I was like, this is different from where I'm coming from. And I have friends in my office in London. We go for meetings together. We go for lunch together. What's happening? And I was told that it's either you work in engineering or you're not working in Aberdeen. And that's not fair. That's not fair. Why? Because I know anyone that is coming from Nigeria or Africa or Ghana or wherever that is African, on average, 95% of them will already be graduates. So it's not for lack of the background or education. It could be for lack of knowledge. It could be for because they don't know how. And I know AFB has been existing for the engineering people for a very long time. Unfortunately, I've met with the co-founders and some of the members. And interestingly, I told myself, how about I look for another platform for people that are not in engineering? I come from a tech background, information technology, and when I started coaching people, when I came to Aberdeen in document control, information management, because I've worked over 10 years in the oil and gas industry, so I could tell them the options that are there for them, that is not engineering, for them to get jobs in the oil and gas industry. So they started getting jobs, which made me happy because, people would take up opportunities if they know how. And so that was what birthed Black and Scott in 2012. I couldn't do anything about it because I was working full time. At that time, some women will identify with me. If you're still looking for a baby, anything in your mind apart from work is how you can get that baby. So I got pregnant in 2014. By the time I came back, the oil and gas industry have taken a dive, and that was where I was working as a contractor. So I couldn't go back to job in the sector. And what I did, luckily for me, I have an IT background. I rejigged my CV, sent my CV out. My first job, business analyst in the change program. So I started there, and up until 2019, I was traveling. My baby was barely a year, and I was traveling with my baby, with my husband and the baby at home. He was fortunate to get a job in Aberdeen. And after a while, I got tired. I said, I can't believe in my child. I was praying for this baby for 4 years. And here we are, I can't even stay with the baby. He said, look, my other name is Ojoanya. Ayo, do you want to sit down at home? And he knows I'm not the kind of woman that will sit at home. I want to work, I want to do business, I want to do all of that. So I said no. So he said, okay, fine, you go ahead and do what makes you happy. And I started looking for jobs, going to Edinburgh, Manchester, London. Now we left for a job. And then in 2019, I met an amazing program manager that I was working with. He's Scottish, but he's left Scotland over so many years ago. And he asked me one question. Timi, are you mad? Why are you traveling? Couldn't you just open your mouth and ask if we can let you work from home? And that was what changed it for me. We were at that decision-making process in our family to say maybe we should leave Aberdeen. And so I came back that day. I told my husband, do you know that I can work from home? And he was like, what? I said, yes, I can. And that brought back the dream of Black and Scott again, that if I can negotiate to work from home, there's so many other people in Aberdeen that I could encourage to negotiate to work from home, travel a few days, but they will still be with their family, and we don't have to leave the homes we bought or we're settled in. And so what we do at Black and Scott is, bottom line is we're promoting Black excellence. And what we do is to train, initially Black talent, look for Black talent like we are now, ask you what your aspirations are, and then we'll train you. Beyond training, we'll simulate project opportunities for you to develop your confidence in that line of work. And then we will support you with mentoring, some structured learnings, and then we can take you into the market. We did that on our own for a few years during lockdown, and over 2020, last year and this year, we have 20-something people that have found jobs in business analysis, project planning, project management, things like that, And then I started talking to people about cybersecurity, which I work in. And it's amazing because I love it, and there's plenty of opportunities out there. So right now, that's where we are. We have been, over the last 12 months, we have been able to sign new partners. We have Sky, we have BBC, we're talking to Scottish Water, Aberdeen City Council is on board, STV, quite a number of organizations are now working with us, and the number one problem they have is diversity. They don't have Black people working in their team, so they want to work with us, but we also have to make sure that people we are presenting are confident enough to do the job. So that's where we are. That's what Black and Scott is about, promoting Black excellence, and that's why I am here today.
Yeah. So now to Dr. Olushola Ajide, who are you, sir, and what is bridge, and what are you doing in Aberdeen?
Thank you very much for the privilege to be here. And thank you to all the amazing speakers. Thank you so much. I came into Aberdeen about 7 to 13 years ago now, 2011, I'm correct, my math's correct. All right, I came in for my PhD program, and after my PhD program, I tried to look for a job and I couldn't get a job like our speaker said earlier. And I was unemployable even with the PhD. Then the thoughts in my head was, or what helped me then was the fact that somebody has spoken very well about volunteering, because I was volunteering with the church when I was doing my PhD. I was able to volunteer as a pastor. So the church tried to sponsor me to continue pastoring what I was doing. So, and I didn't plan that I would use pastor to get sponsorship. I was only passionate. I was doing my PhD, and I said I wanted to start the parish. And as we're doing that, so after the PhD, visa was ending, got sponsorship to continue the work where I was pastoring. Then the thought came to my head, now I have a PhD, how can I bring my PhD to be add value to the church and to the community and to the society? Because that's the key point of doing a PhD anyway. It's not necessary just to have something you have put on the shelf. So I thought of, okay, corporate social responsibility, community engagement, what can we do? How can the church add more value to the community? So with that thought in mind, came up with a lot of ideas, wrote a proposal for a new department, HR, wrote the job description, wrote my responsibilities, and wrote to my boss and said, this is a new department and this is what I'm supposed to do. And I said, okay, go ahead. So that's how we started. I started the new role, head of partnership development, standing and going out there to talk to other organizations about fountain of law. That's doing quite a lot of things in the community. Now, as I was doing that, then this aspect of other problems that are in the community began to come to my radar. And I felt, oh, we need to do other things. So we started a befriending service. We started an employability support to people who are unemployed. Remember I told you I was unemployable? So the question is, how can I use my unemployability to be of help to other people? So that's the beginning point. How can I help other people who are unemployed like myself? So my mess seemingly became my message. And then I became a messenger of helping people to get out of unemployment. And over the space of the past 4 years, I've supported over 220 people, averagely, by other people, and over 100 of them have found employment in Technic, FMP, Scott Oil, JP Morgan, Deloitte, the UK Ministry of Defense, NHS, aviation sector, just like that. So that was that. Now, because I started the befriending service and the employability work, now there's a challenge because we're a church, people will not give you funding because we're an organization. So it became clear that we needed to start a charity. So, and that's how we now started, we incorporated the bridge, which I now serve as the Chief Executive Officer. And we incorporated the bridge, and in looking all of that, also looking for funding to run our activities. In the space of the past 4 years, we've been successful to secure 57,000 plus as grants. So for employability and to employ staff and to do other things. So we're still here. And it's Aberdeen Linking Life, one of the befriending services, and that has now covered the northeast of Scotland. So we now support people far to Banff, Elon, Inverurie, and all across, and now even to going to the other axis of Newton Hill, going to the Aberdeenshire, Stonehaven, where I pastor. So the key point in all of this is we do tackling loneliness and social isolation, tackling employability, tackling the issue of those who have issues to be the guests of His Majesty at Peter Heath, who have been in prison, helping them to get back into the community. And number 4, helping those people who are particularly the minority ethnic men who don't care about our health. Bringing awareness, like the event we had this morning about men's mental health, who are African men, helping them to know that there's a need to cater for your health and other areas of life. And also helping the women folk, also looking at breast cancer, cervical cancer, menopause, looking at the issue of mental health of women and the issue of diet when it comes to women. So quite a lot of things juggled what that we will do. So thank you very much for having me.
Before I throw some questions to them, and if you see all of them have spoken today, something normally kick them start, what they face. And I'm happy, when you were sharing your story, it was touching that 60 days to go, you figure this out. Your personal challenges, figure Black and Scots, based on what is happening to minorities in terms of getting employment, triggered Abe UK, and based on your personal challenges, triggered that. So, I'm happy that all the stories that I share, they are not too far. They are stories that touches them. And so, before I start to throw questions to them, can we entertain any questions from you guys before? Any question you, okay, yeah.
Can I use that?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, all facilitators. It's been wonderful. Okay, I have those 3 questions. The first one is about LinkedIn. I think she talked about LinkedIn, and then I remember that I think himself, maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, was on. You shared the video on YouTube. You also talked about it. But then the question I have is, how do I, when I check on LinkedIn and I see a lot of profiles, I see things like 500 connections, 500 plus, and I'm like, come on, how did it get here? Was it paid for? Because LinkedIn keeps bringing this to me and telling me, oh, I can sign up for premium. So I'm now thinking, is it the premium they signed up for to get the 500 connections, or they've been there for a very long time? So I want to ask, how do I build my profile on LinkedIn? I'm new in HR. The second one is I'm new in HR. Back in Nigeria, I was teaching. But then I'd always wanted to do HR, but you know the country, the way it is sometimes. You need to have some certifications. And moreover, I was never in the commercial class. I did science all through. So it's a switch, like he said, a transition. So I'm trying to transit into HR and all. Now, what would you advise? Though I know that there are some professional courses probably I need to take. I'm presently studying in the University of Dundee. I'm doing international business and human resource management. So I was very intentional about choosing that course so that it could help me, give me the background in HR that I need. So what would you advise? Because I'm just starting and I really, really want to do HR. And the third one is on mentorship. How do I get a mentor? Like in that field. I've gone on LinkedIn, I've seen some big professionals in, and then I think at the point I had to even send a message to one of them or two that please, but I don't know if that's the approach I need to take or there's another approach I need to take. So I just need that advice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So 3 questions, LinkedIn, what else again, HR and mentoring. So how do we divide the question? Who will go first?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. So for the LinkedIn,
And let's keep our quick answers snappy so that.
Yeah, so when you look at my LinkedIn as well, I have over the number you've just kind of stated as well. Yeah, because I've been really involved with a lot of activities. I think it's a function of being intentional and also being focused on also achieving a goal as well. There are a lot of activities you can really be involved with respect to, you could even be commenting on people's posts, people you really see as mentors or role models, they will notice you. So people really see the things we do, even if you think nobody is really watching what you're doing. So by being intentional, for example, you've attended this event, right? You take it upon yourself, you can connect with at least 10 people. So the more event you go for, you build your connection, you ask people for following, which is something that is really key in the UK, even at events. People really don't really give out their phone numbers, but they're happy to connect. Oh, are you on LinkedIn? So I think that's one way you can really build. At AFB, so we've got a mentoring team as well. So I know with the name Minority Engineers, it's not only limited to only engineering background as well. We've got people within the commercial space, in legal space as well. What I can do, because I lead the mentoring team in Scotland, but of course, because of the work in the transition team, I'm giving it to somebody else, but I can find you a mentor within the HR space that will be able to give you that guidance you need. for you to be able to get to your destination where you're going to. What was the third question you
HR.
asked? HR. Yeah, so I think I'll be able to find you that mentor. I think the first step for you to take will be for you to get that mentor. And of course, going into every mentoring relationship, the success of every mentoring relationship will be how intentional you are, how you want to drive the relationship, right? A lot of people have said earlier, having that vision, having a goal, because there's no mentor that wants to spend 20 minutes with you when they feel you don't have a sense of direction. They wouldn't do the work for you, but you have to show them that you're intentional, you're deliberate, you have a destination. So it's more like painting a picture of the future you want to like future in. So once you begin to think that way, then you now need somebody that has gone through that career trajectory to be able to tell you the things you shouldn't be doing and the right things you should be doing for you to get to your desired destination. So I think that's my action plan today, to get you a mentor through AFBE within the HR space. Yeah, I think that's one promise I will make in this gathering today. And the question I have for you, I saw Aradel. Do you work for them?
Oh, my sister.
Okay, so Dr. Fatana is. Okay, we'll talk about you later.
So how much are you going to pay for that? So
Thank you, sir.
any thoughts,
So the point on how do you map your way through HR, I think you have to really understand what you want to achieve, where you want to get to, and then find out how to get there. That is the research you have to do. So if it's a graduate position you want to do, right, it's a graduate position I want to do, how do I get there? And then fill in the blanks as you go. That is the only way you can do it. So identify where the end goal is and look at all of the skill set, the experiences that you need to get there. Same thing that Aditayo spoke about. Identifying that end goal and then working your way throughout to ensure that you are able to get all the right skills, get all the right experiences, make all the right connections to be able to get there. I have a friend that she's a job magnet, and if she studied engineering, and she said she wanted to end up in HR, and she said, okay, what will she need to do to get to HR? And right now she's in HR, and she's working for the NHS. They are paying for her education to become a HR personnel. And that's because she understood what she needed to do to get to that position. I think that's how you need to think about it. Be very intentional, like Ibim said, in all of your actions. You don't waste your actions. There's not much time in the day for you to be inefficient. So you want to say, right, this is what I'm going to target. This is how I'm going to get it. Go get it. Get to the next one. Get to the next one. Get to the next one. And you can also leverage resources. There are opportunities that we don't put ourselves out there. There are opportunities where you don't necessarily have to pay for all of these things yourself. There's so much opportunity around. If you do your research right, someone will be able to pay for all of your education to the destination you want to get to. And that's the only advice I can give.
Yeah, so there's something I left out as well. Volunteering is also key as well. So like he has said as well, doing that skills mapping, doing a skills gap analysis as well tells you what are the current skills you have. There's always something to be transferred. There's something you call transferable skills. Once you've been able to get that mapping right, you identify where your skills gap are and what your transferable skills are. Then even with respect to volunteering, you'll be able to build yourself, even the LinkedIn optimization you're talking about. AFB, today everything I do for AFB is mainly volunteering. They don't pay me at AFB. By doing all of these activities, I'm also sort of enhancing my skill set as well, right? Through mentoring, through volunteering for all of these activities, you'll be able to catch up and fill in the blank spaces where necessary.
I think my bosses have covered it. The only bit I can advise, Brother Rotimi mentioned something about sometimes you don't have to pay for some things. At the moment, Black and Scott is working with Skills Development Scotland. And what we're doing is to establish some apprenticeship programs. In the UK, and I'm trying to reach the Gen Zs as well. Instead of going all the way to the university by yourself, paying for your own schooling, there are organizations that will, if you apply, they will take you on, pay for your university education, but you'll be working maybe 50 days at work and you're going to school for 50 days. And that's you developing your skills whilst you're at school. By the time you finish, you already, maybe if it's a 2-year program, you already have 2 years experience, well, depending on how they curate it. And then you have your certification or graduate certificate. You can explore that. I don't know what your status is in the country. You can explore that option. But most importantly, network, network, network. I know it's hard, especially for people that are just coming into the UK. They want to study, they want to pay their bills. But when you get invited to opportunities like this, even if it is an hour, try, connect, connect, connect. You'll be amazed what connection, the power of connection can give you. So I would suggest, in addition to what my bosses have said, that you pick on those aspects.
What you Pastor Ajide? Any other thoughts?
Thank you. On your point on how do you create a profile on LinkedIn, I think it will mention the aspect of being intentional. And I think if you want to go into HR, like as we mentioned earlier, is what shows us currently that you are passionate about HR. What are the things you write on your LinkedIn profile? It might just be 50 words, 10 lines about HR. What are you talking about? What do you comment? Who are the people? And I call that, when you mentioned earlier about commenting on other people, I call it niche networking. Niche networking in which you be intentional on the kind of thing you put under somebody's posts. Interestingly, there's a particular person I've used that, and last weekend I was speaking at the Global Mentorship Conference, in which we have people from 40 nations. And there's a particular person I've been looking up to that I've been networking. I've not met her physically, but on LinkedIn, I've always been commenting on her posts for almost the past 3 years. And last week we spoke at the same conference. She was a key speaker, Mrs. Tony F. Sani. She's the CEO of a big organization. And last year, so if you look at my status, I put there a comment as well. That was a good, so niche networking, you are underplaying what can happen on LinkedIn, but you need to be intentional. Don't go and be asking or writing anything that is untoward. Think critically. Somebody put a post, what's your own view, what's your own point of view, you put the comment there. People are watching, and that's very, very important. So secondly, about that is the aspect of you need to be resourceful. Everyone here, I've mentioned that today, there's no point in which whoever is going to help you, what do you have? What can you do? What problem have you solved? These are things that are important that you need to put out there. Are you passionate about HR? Why? Is it because of mental health? And that might be your own way in. I'm passionate about mental health of staff, and you begin to talk about that, and people begin to know you for that. And that way, people will be able to stand in for you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the question you asked. Please don't allow big numbers scare you. Sometimes 1,000, 5,000. The month meeting you attend, once you follow, it will shock the crew members today that I didn't belong to any group. But once, if I follow Sister Timi, if Sister Timi posts job tomorrow, once I see that I copy and paste it to creep. Sometimes they say Abrashi is so good. I did good kankan. Once I follow one person, and if I follow Brother Felix, if Brother Felix posts something about Baker House, directly I see it, copy and paste it, put it. So if Brother Felix follow another Panocean person in Australia, if you post job, Brother Felix will comment, I, the third person, will see it. That's actually, it's just like what we call chain in chemistry. You follow this, follow this, follow this, follow this. Those are just the simple magic. So I want to go back to any other question before. Okay, brother sir.
Thank you. My name is Wale. I'm happy to be in this gathering. I'm just few weeks in Aberdeen. And I think this is a very good platform for me. I've learned so much, I've heard so much, and I think I'll be on my toe from now. I love the word he used, that there is no time to, you said something not so long now, to be deficient or inefficient. That is a very critical word. I think that will last me for a longer period of time. But my question actually, because I have passion for teenagers in particular and children, it has been my passion for a long time. You know, the first pain that I receive when I'm here this morning is that we have few numbers of children here. No, I know maybe the church probably have so many series of programs they must have lined up for children. I want to say to you, Rachel, anytime a program like this is coming up, I think put a note that we can come with our children. Because I felt so bad that my daughter is not here, my son is not here. Even though, like I said, you probably must have some program lined up for them, but let them be in our midst like this. You know, let them see people who are saying what they have practicalized and they have been able to achieve the results. You know, I credited that woman for bringing the children and some other people that brought the children in. Then, why am I saying this? Back in Nigeria, I'm a minister in Redeem, and I focus a lot on the teenagers because I see a lot of deficiencies. You know, even when you try to put them on the right track, they feel and they assume they know more than you do. And they tend to follow their own path, even though they are going to the wrong side or going to land in the wrong direction. So please, I love something she said. She picturized Aberdeen and what she will become in Aberdeen before she left Nigeria. A lot of us, we just felt, we want to come to London, want to come to England, you know, assuming when we get there, we will get the track or the road map. No, it shouldn't be that way. It should be that way. I love that aspect of her talk. You know, she has designed what she's coming to do. And like my brother said, Dr. Alabi, you know, the roadmap has been there already. She just came in and she started filling in the gap for herself. So my bottom line is this, and my concluding part is this. Please, let us focus on the teenagers a lot. You know, we have gotten to a certain level in our life. We have been able to realize where we have made it wrong or we have gotten it wrong. At this period of our life, I think we are just trying to like, oh, I have gotten it wrong so far, so let me now start doing this. Don't let these teenagers get to this level before they know what we know now. So let's really, you know, put our searchlight on them and encourage them a lot in what we are saying here. And that is just my contribution and my question.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I think because of time. Thank you for that. The church is also looking to that as well. And for us as a church, we have a hub where they're going to be trained. But a good feedback for us as Creed. So if we are doing something for elders and young people can get it, I think the message is simple enough, right? So that's a take-home point for us. So, okay.
If I just quickly contribute, the youth are being looked after very, very well. I got a call from one of our contacts at BBC that they want to come and talk to the youth and their parents about apprenticeship program against next year. So that is in the pipeline. So definitely, I know because I spoke to the youth contact and they are actively working with the youth. So nothing for you to worry about. Maybe you can even volunteer with them.
Then Brother Kabeda is there. That's one of the leaders in teenagers. It's one of the leaders in teenagers. So the church actually this church, their focus and Pastor can attend to is the youth. Yes. This place is actually for the youth, teenagers. They have everything. They give them chance to do news 31, all of that. But you see, yeah, we'll talk about that. So, Mr. Robinson.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually, I have a question. It's actually a very good privilege to be here. I'm 1 month old in Aberdeen, and what she said really resonated to me because before I came into Aberdeen, I already had like an idea of what I wanted to do and what I did not want to do. So my question is for him, with respect to entrepreneurship. For example, I have an idea of an invention that I think is a need, and it will be able to provide a very good solution for the economy right here in Aberdeen. So, and it's a new frontier. It's not something I'm used to. I have my background is in oil and gas. and I'm currently doing information technology. So it's like trying to merge both together. And then this idea I have is something in the line of information technology, and it's a new frontier for me because I'm just coming to study information technology. Apart from getting the background knowledge with the master's degree, what else can I do in regards to achieving that, harnessing that idea I have? I don't know if the question makes sense.
The question is clear. I think first thing first, you have to start with understanding who owns the problem. If you are able to clearly identify who owns the problem, and there are levels to this. So someone might have the pain, so they are going through the issue themselves, and they want the problem to be solved, but they are not the economic buyer. So they are not the people that will pay you. You have to be able to map out very clearly what that looks like, what the chain of the problem looks like, and then really do a survey as to what you're thinking. Is that reality? If you think this is the problem, if you don't speak to the end customer, you might not be able to establish whether or not your theories are right. Everything you're doing is experimentation. You come up with an idea, I think this is an issue. You go and validate it. You go and validate it by speaking to people. Do you experience this problem? How do you currently solve the problem? What does this problem prevent you from doing? What kind of solution do you want to see? When you engage very deeply with the owners of the problem, your solution is almost written for you. What you are going to build is almost very clear-cut, because they will tell you exactly what they're experiencing, and they will tell you exactly what they want to see as a solution. And then, don't forget, you have to find who's going to pay for it. So if the person that has the problem is not the person that's going to pay for it, go and find the person that's going to pay for it. Because then no one will give you money if you don't find the person that's going to pay for it. So you can solve a grand problem somewhere, but if nobody's paying for that problem, then that is not a complete loop. It's not a complete circle. You need to complete the circle. The way you do that is by asking questions, by researching, by speaking to people. You go out there and speak to people. When we started Rap Microfluidics, I spoke to almost 300 different companies. And when I was speaking to these guys, people will speak to you because people like to tell you about their problems. I don't know whether you experience that a lot, like the guys that are sitting here, but people will tell you about their problems if you ask them. You just start talking. So if you think that something is an issue, you think that this person might have that problem, you just say, right, can I have a moment of your time? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. There was a guy I called that works in a company called Unipa. And I said I just wanted to speak to him for 15 minutes. I didn't know him from Adam. I found him on LinkedIn and I said, can I speak to you? And he says, yeah, that's fine. He gave me his number. We ended up speaking for 3 hours.
Substance.
Because he was telling me about all of the challenges. So by the time we crafted the solution was not really how we had the underlying technology. But what the customer wanted was what we crafted at the end of the day. And then we say, okay, right, this is what we're going to sell. Now, you have to be careful in that because we have run into this issue. There are people that talk to you about their problems and they tell you about very many different things. And what I mean by that is they want you to solve the whole problem that they have. If you start on that path, you will never get anything out there. Because we speak to customers, customer says, oh, we like that you can do this. Can you do this one also? And then naively we'll consider it and say, oh, actually we can do that because we know we have the capacity. So we can do that. It then takes us another 3 months to get that feature into the product. And at the end of the day, you speak to different people and they're telling you, right, can you do this one also? Can you do this one also? Can you do this one? So we then said, right, let us stop here because how many of these are we going to do? So we decided to say, right, these are the core things that we have identified that we are going to solve. It's only the people that have this problem that we are going to address. And then we focused on those people. So once you build that and build the capacity, then you can start to layer things on. So once you have done that initial survey and research into who owns the problem, what kind of solution you want to craft, then you have to really think about it and say, what is the main immediate issue? What are the nice to have? You want to be addressing a need, not a nice to have. Because a nice to have, someone will say, I can do without that. But if it's a need, someone cannot do without a need. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, let's do a question.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Looking at it, the team 10 times, I know it's applicable to me as well. And I want to thank Creed for this opportunity. The last time I was here, while we were discussing about AI and things like that, it's been very advantageous to me. And that was when I brought everybody because we have to share the knowledge and don't worry. Pay back. So now my question is, for us to be 10 times more, and wherever we find ourselves and lashing into Brother Ibim's this thing, what are your advice? What counsel do you give to people that come within your cloud for them to, you know, excel wherever they find themselves? And also looking at it that your time is very, very important, and also people you're working with, also they've got the background here. You're coming from where you don't have the tech skill, and now you want to do 10 times more than they are delivering and be able to stand out wherever you find yourself. What specific advice you give to people within that cloud?
Yeah, let's make our answers snappy. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, we beg all of us to finish by 10 after 4. Is that okay?
Yes.
We're not supposed to move beyond 4, but I'm begging. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Okay. Snappy.
Yeah, so I'm going to go straight to the point. So coming into a new environment is also important for you to understand your environment, right? So I know a lot of people in this room, you've come to do different academic programs, and what you find is that people get embedded into just school, or they're doing one, part-time job, so that is just the circle, right? And they lose out on opportunities like this. So I think it's important for you to take advantage of opportunities like this and build a community around you that would always be there to support you. You've come to this program now, you've seen myself, you've seen Prophetics, you've seen Dr. Alabi, and all these people. It's way easier for you to run into any of us at Union Square and you say, oh, I have an interview tomorrow, I need somebody to prepare me for a mock interview. Those are the sort of things, those resources are there, right? And you could also approach any one of us to say, oh, I want to shadow, also to contribute to the question she asked as well. Is a gray area, is a new area she really she wanted to understand where she is. Things like shadowing is also sort of important as well. And taking advantage of every experience in the UK counts, right? It doesn't really matter if you're working in Lidl, it doesn't matter if you're supposed to be a tech professional, but you find yourself in the oil and gas. All of those experiences would always be transferable and key. And of course, again, getting that person you see as a role model or as a mentor within the field you want to find yourself would always set you apart. Because there are a lot of things you can learn in school, but of course, the soft skills are the things you may not be able to learn in school, to be very honest. And beyond the soft skills, beyond the technical skills, the soft skills will take you to even the greatest of height. Because if you have two managers, two people that are doing so well technically, but one person have very bad people management skills, the person wouldn't be given a leadership position. But by volunteering, but by coming to places like this, you'll be able to build all of these soft skills and experiences that will set you apart. And even when you go to interviews as well, you may not have all the experience they're looking for, but when they look at your CV, you're volunteering for Creed, you're volunteering for this body, they know you're sort of building capacity, and all of those things will stand you apart. There are so many people that can get the first class in chemical engineering, but there are not a lot of people that will be good people managers, to be very honest. So I think that's the thin line and one thing that can help you. Once you've been able to identify where you are and identifying where you can find resources by attending things like this and building communities, taking up volunteering roles, all of those things can help you sort of meet up with the skills gap you have. Thank you.
I'll add something to that. Just 2 points to that really is understanding the basics. It is very important that anything you know the fundamentals of it, the basics of it, and then you can articulate it and communicate it. Communication is key. If you're not able to communicate, regardless of what you know, there is no way you're going to go anywhere. You need to be able to let someone know what you know. And that is down to communication.
Thank you. Okay, how many questions? Okay, let's follow the next generation. So please ask a question.
So, since when I was young, I've been like trying to start a business. But
Business?
You are still young.
well, I didn't really bother about it around like 10, 11 and above. Well, when I came to Aberdeen and I started school, I first came and 2 people that we like also wanted to like start making money at their age, and one of them used to tell me how he like wants to make money and everything. And I said, oh, let me start a blogging business, so that if they will make like I have a lot of ways to monetize the blogging business, but I don't know how to get views and people to start like watching it and understand and start everything. And I also tried newsletter, and I don't have much people to start it, and I have 4 people, so me and 3 of my friends, and the other people that just go around in school, and one of them have like 5,000 views on TikTok. So I want to start like a group, so me easy, because if I'm old, I'll have to pay for a lot of things to start it. So I could just start it now.
Who will answer it?
I think
Who will go?
I don't want to discourage you, but the first thing first is you shouldn't go into business because you want to make money. That is the first mindset that you have to correct. Because if you go in there, you will easily get frustrated when the money does not come. Using my story, I started Rap Microfluidics in 2016, so it's 7 years now. Our product just got released to the market this year. So we have not made money. We have been surviving on grants, competitions, and investment. We have been focusing on solving someone's problem. So if you think that there is a gap in blogging, there is a gap in newsletting, there is a gap in what you have identified, you are trying to craft a solution to plug that gap and then communicate that to as many people as you can. You said something that was very interesting, monetizing, that you have an idea to monetize. Once you are able to create critical mass, then you can start thinking of monetizing that critical mass, because you have created an asset. And it's only an asset that you can monetize. Focus on the asset, and the money will come later.
Let me just quickly say something on that. Now, when it comes to the issue of, you said blogging and newsletter, the question that should be in your mind, which Dr. Rotimi mentioned, is what's the problem? Blogging and newsletting means you are passing a particular information out to people. What are you blogging about? Are you blogging about AI? Are you blogging about fashion? Are you blogging about teenagers? Are you blogging about how to pass exam? Are you blogging about how to cut your hair? Are you blogging about black hair? Are you blogging about Caucasian's hair? Are you blogging about shoes? So you must be able to know what is it, and that is what we call niche, micro niching. you are focusing on that particular thing. And when you focus on that, you don't wake up one morning and say, I want to not be talking about music. You just stay on that because there are people in the whole world, over 7 billion people, who are concerned about that. And those are the people that will be getting your views. We can talk about this after.
Thank you very much. Yes, for Abu, right? Yeah.
My question is to Dr. Rotimi. So you mentioned something about finding a practical problem. Like as an academic, most times you focus on the solution. So how did you make that connection? And if you had to start afresh as a PhD, new PhD, how would you start looking for those kind of problems? Because sometimes you focus more on the solutions and then later on, like you said, you know, look for the problem to that solution. So how do you work things back?
Those two questions are very loaded. When, as an academic, you're trained in a particular way, you're trained in a particular lingua, you're trained in a particular you have a certain type of mentality, certain type of outlook towards life, certain philosophy. When you're going into business, you have to drop all of them. That is the issue. You have to drop all of them, because I recruited an academic who has a PhD and he was a postdoc for a while. He was a postdoc for about 11 years. I'm still struggling with him today in terms of he likes research. It's just his DNA. I'll say we have to send this product to a customer. It has to have this particular feature, and he's telling me, right, I had this idea that I can do something else. I was like, no, that's not what I asked you to do. So I learned very quickly, and Accelerator helped me in this, to say I couldn't continue in that academic language, that academic lingua, that academic philosophy. I had to adapt into an entrepreneurship style of thinking. So you have to retrain yourself in a new style of thinking with new lingua and embed yourself in that new lingua and new style for you to be able to really operate in that environment. If you're in Rome, you behave like a Roman. You don't behave like a Brit. And that is exactly what you have to do. Then the second question is a solution without a problem. That was my problem. We had created in my PhD research a solution that my supervisor said, I would like to do this. This is what researchers do. This will be interesting to do. It's new frontier. It's the edge or the boundary of science. I'd like to do it. And whilst I was researching, I was like, there is value here, there's an application here. But I didn't know what it was. So I spent about 18 months trying to really understand, is there a problem that this underlying technology can solve? And once I found that problem out, I said, okay, that's the problem we're going to solve with the solution we have. The research in the universities are good, but it takes someone with an entrepreneurship mindset to take that technology, that solution, and find a problem that it will solve. It's intentional. You have to spend time to do that.
Thank you very much. Yes, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, all the questions have been, toppling into most of the questions I wanted to ask. But my question is, I'm doing a research, right? And my research was born out of a problem. And that was the reason why I decided to go into a PhD, right? And the goal is actually to sort of, if there's an English for that, productify the research at the end of the day. More like turn your research into a product and sort of enter into the market with it, right? But how do you do that? I am, I'm of both worlds, right? I'm of business and I'm of research. So when I'm in academia, they always find it hard to understand me when I'm thinking research and thinking, okay, will this be applicable in real life? And they're like, no, just do the research first. So the problem now is, I've identified the problem, right? It's $1 billion problem. Most people don't know they have. But once you know you have it, you'll be willing to pay through your nose to get it. But the problem now is, it's a new frontier. It's AI actually. So how do you do all the jargons, then make sense with the markets? That's the question.
So that's a loaded question again, and you can't spend 5 minutes to answer that question. You have to really explore it, the length and breadth of it. The good thing is that you know that there is a problem, and the research you're doing is a solution to that problem. I think the connection that you're looking for right now is how do you then really create a product that you can sell, and I will need to understand more of what that is to be able to say, right, this is how you go about it. The basics really is if you know that there's a problem, try to identify who will pay for it, how you will monetize it, and in what form they will want it. So if you understand all of those, then you start to structure all of the solution into really giving, at the end of the day, what someone wants and what they will pay for. But we can have a chat about it later.
Let me give a point about, some people have mentioned about, like the lady talk about IT or that, and you are saying the same thing. Now there is a business gateway. Business gateway is the beginning point, I think, and is a free service. Google Business Gateway, visit Business Gateway. There are courses that Business Gateway run that is free, and you can be able to get. And when they ask you, they get all the knowledge, the support they give to you. If you have a good idea, their intention is to help you bring your product or idea to the market. And they will even give you an advisor that will work alongside of you until that works out. So I think Business Gateway is a good place to start. Because I've attended some of the programs, which is very good that will help you. They will help you particularly with this issue of customer, the market, what's the market. So Business Gateway has done a lot, I've done research. They have market research on all business type you want to do in the UK, and they will give you that data. And that will help you to know if actually the idea you have is marketable, if there's volume to be able to get what you need. So I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I wanted to say the basic things you can do first, maybe because I have the experience in business analysis. There's something that's called the 4 W's. The other W is turned around to an H. What is this problem I'm trying to resolve? What is it? You have to identify who am I going to sell it to? Who needs it? Then when is it going to go into the market? Is it going to be relevant by the time I'm done? And when it's done, how? That's the W that will turn to an H. Besides doing all of that, you can do all of that in your own home. Spend time drafting everything. It's called the 4 W's. Then you take your SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Switch everything around and start putting them into those blocks. Put them into those blocks. You can spend hours experimenting on one particular business opportunity. That way it gives you a very good idea where you're going. And then when you take what you have researched and documented, take it to Business Gateway, they know that you already know what you want, how you want to do it, who you want to reach, and what income you're expecting to generate from that. Everybody, even children, can do SWOT and the 4 W's. And then there's nothing like going in the presence of somebody that wants to help you when you've done 50% of the work. It gives them that motivation that this person is ready. So I always advise when people say they're looking for opportunities or jobs, don't go on an empty planter to say, I have this idea, advise me. It's not going to be good time resourcing for both of you. Do your work. Make sure you spend hours of your own time, even if it is the midnight. Do something every day about that business opportunity, and you'll be surprised when you use the 4 W's and SWOT.
Thank you. I mean, the question, okay, we'll take one, then we'll have the last one from the speaker. Yeah, because of time.
Thank you, quick, and thanks, facilitator. I think it's been quite insightful and very impactful. My question goes to Dr. Rotimi. I'm sure if you had more time, probably you would have covered this. After you set up WAP, how did you eventually then use it to convert your visa status? We talked about the fact that you only had 60 days, so you had to go through the entrepreneurship route. That's my first question. The other question, you mentioned about attending a lot of competitions to get grants, elevators program. From your experience, how did you identify those ones that were actually relevant that really supported you as you are now? Those are my two questions.
I didn't cover the visa story in any great depth apart from, or I didn't conclude that story. At the end of the day, I was able to get a grant that allowed the University of Aberdeen to sponsor me for a year under the Tier 2 visa. After that, because I now had grants, I could apply for the entrepreneurship visa, which was 3 years. After that, because I had stayed in the UK for 10 years, I applied for indefinite leave to remain, and then finally became a British citizen. So that was the path to it. Your situation might be very different. But in terms of the entrepreneurship visa, I think the last time I checked the rules, you needed about £100,000 of grant to be able to qualify for it. £100,000 of grant and a business plan. Those are the only two key requirements. For someone to give you £100,000 of grant, then they've done the vetting for the Home Office. So you're almost guaranteed to get that visa. So you can find grants that can support that. Then in terms of how did I know about all of the competitions and grant applications to make it, signposting and networking. You have to try and embed yourself in the community that you want to be part of. You've heard about Business Gateway. You've heard about Elevator today. If you go to Elevator, if you attend the Elevator Accelerator program, it's a 12-week program. I don't know whether they still do it, but it's a 12-week program. They start telling you all of the things that are available.
They still do.
They still do.
Yeah.
Or you are part of it.
They do academic for students. They don't do the real one for twice in a year. One is going to come out maybe very soon.
So embedding yourself into all of those platforms, you are able to understand or know all of the different opportunities for you to plug into, and you'll be able to do a raft of them. Some of them you might not be ready for because the business is not ready for it. Some of them might be very new and you'll be able to plug in straight for it. Some of them you will fail, some of them you will succeed in, but you just have to persist and you refine what your output is every time. Because the thing is, when it comes to making money in the UK, there is no racism. Nobody cares what color you are. If you're able to make someone $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, they don't care what color you are. They just want to know you're competent and that you have enough drive to be able to achieve it.
Thank you
Can I
very
add to
much.
that, please? Just briefly. Sometimes we overlook some opportunities right around us. If you are into PhD or academia, there are lots of opportunity for you to partner with non-profits for grants. If you have an idea that you think can work with a non-profit in the community, identify that. Both of you can, between the two of you, can go into partnership, apply for that grant, and take it forward. I don't know the details. I have some information I can share, but I know it's possible.
Just to finish up on that, because that was one of the key points I've been telling people. You know, I mentioned earlier about resourcefulness. And oftentimes we are so short-sighted that the solution to quite a lot of things are just in front of you, but you're just not seeing it. For most of us, and I know majority of us are here, your concern now is pretty much visa. How do I get visa? How do I get sponsorship? Look for a problem and solve it, like you mentioned. If you're able to solve a particular problem, and you have solved the problem that everybody can say you've solved the problem, people will be able to vouch for you. I was speaking to a chap somewhere. He was volunteering in one microfinance organization, and I asked him, how long have you been here? He said he's been here for 6 months. I said, okay, good. I said, do you know what makes your CEO unable to sleep in the night? Go and look for what makes your CEO unable to sleep in the night and solve that problem. The CEO will go and look for visa. Back to what Dr. Rotimi said. Will go and look for sponsorship for you, even if he doesn't have it. Because you have solved what makes her not able to sleep in the night. Look for problem and solve. As you are going in the community, look for problems on the street, everywhere. Open your eyes. Don't walk on the street closed eyes. Open your eyes. Look for problem everywhere and solve it, and you will be surprised. And back to the issue of networking, you cannot overemphasize networking. By the grace of God, this year, earlier in July, I was invited by King Charles to to Holyrood Palace for the coronation, to celebrate his coronation. What brought about that is solving a problem and connecting with people in the community. Because I was not there when they were nominating. 2 organizations nominated me. And likewise, my sister here. So it is people you meet in the community. It is people you interact with in the community. They are the ones that will speak on your behalf. When you tell them, I have this problem, they will step up for you when you are already solving problems that is over there in the community. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up, while you're trying to look for problems to solve, don't keep quiet about your problem. Say your problem. Because someone will listen and say, okay, I'll be able to help you with that. Don't keep it to yourself. We have that habit of trying to keep it to ourselves to give the illusion that we're doing well when we're not doing well. No. Just say exactly what you're feeling. I'm about to die now. Not bear that in mind, please.
Yeah, so I think it's a good way to end the event. So last words from all our panelists, 10x. What is 10x from this meeting?
Well, 10x for me, back to what the question you mentioned, is have a growth mindset. Remove anything is impossible. Have a growth mindset. You can reinvent yourself. You can become a better person. You can become new. And as you have on that, you need to see opportunities. And when you see opportunities, when you have had a great mindset, ask yourself, has any other person overcome this problem? If they overcome, I will overcome. That's a growth mindset. And before you know it, you begin to scale in your place of work, in any way you find yourself. Because you know that every problem is somatic.
Thank you, sir. 10x.
Yes, 10x for me. I always use this as an example. I had a meeting for women 4 months ago, and I called 1 or 3 of the speakers from our partners. At the end of the day, we asked them individually, what would you tell yourself 30 years ago, the younger you? And the lady what she said is still what I'm taking with me. I am enough. You are enough. Don't think you don't have that thing to make you great. That seed of greatness is in you. Believe there are things around you now that look so bleak, not so confident about it. How do I do it? But there's a reason why you're here today. You are enough, and I want you to believe it.
Thank you so much.
For me, it is execution. Having an idea is one thing. Almost everybody has ideas, or people sit on their ideas. Taking the initiative to get up and execute on that idea is all that matters. Because you can have the best idea in the world, if you do nothing about it, it is an idea. But when you bring your idea to life, that is when you create a world around that idea. And that is when you're able to achieve things that you never thought you'll be able to achieve. So always put in the effort to execute on anything. If you have an idea, go and execute on it. Because we always have this mindset of we'll sit down and it's not convenient. Or I don't have enough information. Or the environment is not right. Those are thoughts that are limiting you from actually executing on what you need to execute. When we started, I didn't know how the problems will be solved. I didn't understand how we're going to create the company. All I knew was we wanted to create something, we wanted to create a solution, we needed to go and we needed to solve a problem, we needed to go and find who owned the problem and see how we can solve that. And we took action. So take action for you to get to where you want to get.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so last thing for me would be this, to remind us that everybody has something to give, right? Even when we are building sustainable and strategic relationship, even when you want to get somebody notice you on LinkedIn, like some of the speakers said, it's the quality of your comments on their LinkedIn post that will make them really notice and identify you existing, right? So go into building networks and relationship with the fact that you also have something to give as well, right? Even when you go into mentoring relationship, even the mentors too, they have so much they can also learn from you as well. So once you go with that mindset that everybody has something to give, you have a value you're bringing to the table, so that would always set you apart. People are watching what you're doing, so that would also translate to how you are executing properly by being persistent, by being deliberate, by being intentional with every and anything that has been entrusted to you to do. How you excellently finish well will set you apart for greatness, and for that recommendations you need. The job I'm doing today with Harbor Energy, I never applied to the job, but because of all the stuff I was doing through AFB, engaging effectively with all these companies across the UK, they asked me, do you want this job? There wasn't even a proper interview, it was just like a chat, because people around the community could see what I was doing. And that's the power of networking. And there's a saying that your network is your network, right? So I think that should really stand with us today with respect to everything we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's start with that.